Hello, fans, collectors, investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al. It is my distinct honor and privilege today to introduce number 15 on my countdown. This is my list of the 100 greatest and most iconic ball players in baseball history. And this player is truly one of the elite, upper tier, inner circle hitters of all time. Full stop. Over a career that lasts from 1941 to 1963, this guy amassed 128.6 WAR. And that's despite missing his age 24 season to military service. Over this career, he amassed 3,630 hits. He hit .331 for a career with a .417 on base percentage. His elite metrics include a .976 OPS and a .159 OPS plus. This guy finished his career first in the National League of all time in hits, RBI, runs scored, and doubles. And his 475 home runs were second to Mel Ott. His 6,134 total bases ranks him second all time. He won 7 batting titles. He won 3 world championships. We'll get into all this later. He is on the short list of the greatest hitters in baseball history, the ones you can count on one hand. I'm of course talking about the legendary Stan the Man Musial.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
One of the best hitters of all time, Stan the Man Musial. 22 years, 18 times he hit 300, won 7 National League batting titles, and ladies and gentlemen, a couple of years ago, we asked Stan, the best harmonica playing Hall of Famer ever, to play. You want to bring him back this year? Yeah. Can you do it? Did you bring it? What do you want to play, Stan?
We're going to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game. We're all going to sing it, too.
Stan Musial was the man. For many players on the countdown, you've heard me say things like, oh, the numbers don't tell the whole story, or the numbers need to be interpreted. But for Stan Musial, the numbers pretty much say it all. He was a hitting machine throughout his long career that lasted from 1941 to 1963. Over that time, he compiled 128.6 WAR, which if you adjusted for the year he missed to military service in his prime, he'd probably be somewhere closer to 136 WAR. He hit .331 for a career with a .417 on base percentage. He compiled 3,630 hits, 1,951 RBI, 1,949 runs, and hit 475 career home runs. If you want to look at those deeper metrics that I like to look at, a .976 OPS and a .159 OPS plus. The man won 7 batting titles and 3 MVP awards. He ties Hank Aaron and Willie Mays with the most All-Star selections ever, with 24. He won 3 world championships. This man was the definition of elite, and if there's one number that elucidates just how productive this man was, he finished his career with 6,134 total bases. That's third all time behind Henry Aaron and Albert Pujols. Now before we get into my items, I want to swing it over to a surprise special guest. You know him as Donnie Livestream. That's right, Musial enthusiast, Don of Don's Field of Dreams.
Hey everyone, it's Don with Don's Field of Dreams cards. Honored that Al from Iconic Baseball asked me to make this quick introduction for this video for Stan the Man Musial. Honored, like I said, that he asked me to do this. Stan is from Pittsburgh, as is Al and I, a little town called Denora. Al grew up in the town directly next to the town that I grew up in, so a little bit of a connection there. So he asked me to show some baseball cards, but I'm going to show some other items because I don't know what cards he has in store for you guys in story. But let's just show 4 items here, and one is the Rawlings Sporting Goods Stan. The next piece here I got in Strongsville, Ohio at the show. It says original 1948 spring training type 1 photo. I thought that was really cool. You know, since Stan doesn't have many cards, I like finding unique pieces. And this here, this actually was a book, and this is perforated here, and you can pull this out and you can pop this little hole here, and they're called 1950 All-Star Pinups. And then it's got some info on the back to teach you a little bit. So really like this piece. And the final piece I want to show is the only autographed baseball I own. Bought this at the National in Atlantic City, and what I thought was great about it is he's got his Hall of Fame year up top, included the man and the hits, 3630, which he had 1,815 hits away and 1,815 hits at home. So that's my guy, Stan the Man. Alan, thank you so much for asking me to do this. Can't wait to see the show with the rest of you. As always, take care.
Thank you so much, Don, for coming on and sharing some of those obscure and amazing Musial pieces from your collection. It was an honor to have you join me on the video. If anyone out there doesn't know about Don's channel, check it out, Don's Field of Dreams. It's an amazing channel, and he's an amazing member of this community. All right, now on to my items for Musial. Let's start with the elephant in the room, and a card that I've probably shown too many times since I acquired it at the National this year. The 1948 Bowman Musial rookie card. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I just showed it last week. So you guys are probably sick of seeing this thing, but it is glorious. It's the big pickup from the National for me this year, a card that I've been targeting for a long time and finally found it in the nicest form that I think I've ever seen it. A PSA 4, beautifully centered with great registration, very clean in all respects, and it fit the bill. So that's my Stan Musial rookie card. You know, even though he started playing in 1941, he kind of came into the league during sort of a dead zone in baseball cards. So he actually didn't have an official mainstream rookie card until 1948. He has some more obscure releases, like the Bond Bread, which came out in 1947, but this is really his first mainstream rookie card. So it's an honor for me to have this. All right, next up, well, let's bookend this. This was his first mainstream release, 48 Bowman. This is his last mainstream release, the 1963 Topps. A card I've had in my collection a long time, probably 25 to 26 years. I remember buying this card raw, I believe at a show, and then I had it graded by PSA 20-some years ago. It came back as an 8 OC. And anybody that's seen my recent videos knows that I have a thing about qualifiers. So a few years ago, I cracked it out of that 8 OC slab and just got it reslabbed without a qualifier so that it came back at PSA 6. Obviously, it's off-centered, but for some reason, the off-centering never really bothered me on this card because it's kind of an asymmetrical card design to begin with, and it doesn't really bother me at all. It's such a clean card though. And just knowing that it was graded an 8 OC tells you something about just how clean the card actually is. It looks pack fresh. I mean, just a beautiful card. And you can see how he aged over the years. These cards were what 15 years apart? Very young and more distinguished. Stan Musial. His first mainstream and his last mainstream card. I really like having those. Okay, and let's go with the baseball. This is a pretty straightforward, single-signed sweet spot baseball with special inscription, Hall of Fame 1969. Not much to say here. Stan Musial signed quite a bit during his career, so, I mean, his signatures are still quite reasonable. They are not expensive, despite his greatness, probably because he was such an active signer. But just a really nice sweet spot autograph on a Leonard Coleman National League ball. Okay, and now I'll do a couple modern cards, or more modern cards. This is one of my favorite 90s on-card auto sets that I've talked about at length many times. This is a 97 Donruss signature, significant signatures, Musial autograph. Probably the best card in this set. And it's graded a BGS 9.5 with a 10 auto. So very tough grade. These are sort of foil type cards that chip very easily. So this is a very tough card in this grade. There aren't many at this grade. These are numbered on the back to 2000. And I have an interesting aside. I have a second card, but it's a little different. So as you can see, they're supposed to be numbered to 2000 on the back. I have another copy of this card, pretty much identical. I haven't had this one graded yet, but probably will at some point. Except, whoops, no number. I still have yet to find any information on this card. If anyone out there knows anything, would this have been one that got out the back door of the factory? Would this have been one that was provided to Mr. Musial himself for personal use? Any information that anyone has on something like this would be appreciated. And would PSA even slab this? For all I know, it's a 1 of 1. But I guess I could always make it a 1 of 1. I kid. All right, moving on to the last one here. This is a really beautiful relic card. The 2001 Upper Deck Legends Legendary Game Jersey Autographs. Short print says it's an SP 266. So apparently there was 266 of those signed with uniform swatch or a piece of game used uniform from Stan Musial with a beautiful autograph. It was graded 9 with a 9 auto, and really fits into that window where Stan Musial was still alive, yet we had a lot of these great on-card autos that were pack inserted, pack pulled. Just a very short window there in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I just love this release. And this is back during those early 2000s where it explicitly states that this is game used material. This was, dare I say, the golden age of relics. Okay, well that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in to the countdown. Big thanks to Don of Don's Field of Dreams for your contribution to this episode. And until next time, everyone, keep collecting and stay iconic.